Alongside Thomas Chabot of the Ottawa Senators. We've made a lot about the new guys that are coming in, DeBrincat and Talbot and Giroux, et cetera, and the younger guys that come in and push for spots. How much do you feel like the wily veteran on this team now?
Not too bad. Obviously, adding guys like DeBrincat and obviously Giroux, they've been around different guys, and obviously the experience that Giroux has, you just can't buy that. I mean, he's been around for years. He's seen a lot of stuff. So to have him around, obviously, it's going to be huge for our group. But I mean, at the end of the day, I've been here. This is my 6th season on this team, and obviously been the longest standing Senators in the last few years. So, but no, I'm just mostly excited. I think having different guys, getting to know different guys, and obviously the team's got a lot better than the team that we ended the season with last year. So. But no, you know what? It's just fun. It's been a fun getting to know those guys, skating with those guys.
The reason I ask is, I mean, every team, every workplace has its own like vibration, has its own thing and way to do business and way to conduct themselves, etc. How often do you find players, calling you like, hey, what's this like about the Senators? What's that like about the Senators?
Kind of more and more, I would say. I mean, you get to meet different guys in different situations, whether it's at camps we do this summer or events or whatever, and they always ask the same questions come around. And I think the look on the city of Ottawa has not been great the last few years. Obviously, when the team's not doing as good, it only makes sense, right? But I think more and more you're getting questions on how things are going on, and I think a lot more guys are getting interested into coming here. And guys have been getting traded over the years. They had the same idea once they got traded here, and then once they get here, they just realized Ottawa's nice. Like, it's a nice place to live. It's a nice place to grow a family. It's a big city in some ways that you have everything you need, but it also feels small. It also feels like you meet different people and they all know each other. They all know someone you already know. So, but no, I mean, having new guys coming in, obviously everybody kind of just sees it. It's a great place to be. I love being here.
You mentioned you've been here 6 years. Sometimes it must feel like it's been like 60. Like, you really think about, like, a lot's happened in your time here, Thomas. And I wonder how you look back at it all.
Yeah, there's been a lot. Just talking with DJ before camp start, and we were just talking about hockey in general, and I was telling him, and looking back on in my basement at home, I have my picture of my first NHL game, and looking at the picture, I'm the only guy that's left, and that's only 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. We've seen a lot of guys go. There's been a lot of stuff happening, and obviously it's been a lot of years that we kind of struggle. So obviously seeing what went down this summer and adding key pieces and big time players, and see the team kind of turn the corner on obviously, yes, our young guys are good, but now we're looking to make a push and make the playoffs. I think it's been one of the best summers I've had off the ice, I think, in putting the work and being focused on getting ready to come here and play 82 games as best as I can. And I think that was the biggest thing. I think it's one of those training camps that everybody's looking forward to. We're all excited, and obviously past few years it was fun. It was fun to see how Tim progressed so quickly, how Drake has become such a great player, Brady again the captain and doing a good job. So just now, though, seeing that the team's taking a step and we want to be a team that makes the playoffs, not only 1 year, but we want to be in the mix for the upcoming years. I think it's been awesome to see.
When you first started, it was around the time that they went to the Eastern Conference Final in 2017, so the expectation was there. This is probably the first time really since then that the expectation's been there. How does it feel? It's
great. I think it's there's nothing like playing hockey when there's some pressure, I feel like, personally. Obviously, it can be hard at times. We're all aware of that. I mean, that's what I try and tell everyone, and the group's aware of it. I mean, our division's not an easy division we can't just make playoffs and make it happen. There's a lot of work that goes into it. There's been teams that have been in the playoffs for a bunch of years in a row, and looking on the teams that are in the division, everybody added pieces this summer. So we're not the only team that did it. We're not the only team that got better. So there's a lot of work that goes into it. But I think that the mindset of everyone and just seeing how early everybody got here this year, I think that meant a lot to me personally. We were here 2 weeks before, and we were skating the full team together.
Yeah.
So obviously we know there's more pressure, and we know there's more expectation, but just seeing how everybody's excited and everybody showed up and everybody was ready to work all together. And G and Brinksy and Timmy, they've been skating together for a bunch of days already. So I think to me that means a lot. It shows that guys want to take a bigger step and improve all together. And I think that's been great so far.
So Elliotte referenced that team, that Ottawa Senators team that went to the conference final against the Pittsburgh Penguins. I remember that really specifically because you were part of it, even though you were playing in Windsor at that point at the Memorial Cup. So I was for that game, for the Chris Kunitz game. So I'm in an Italian restaurant in Windsor with Rocky Dundas, Colby Armstrong, and Todd Warner.
Few bottles of wine too.
There were a couple. There was some dented
A lot of guys who don't like to pay the check.
There's some alligator arms. Yeah, a lot of people tying their skates
the
when
old
the bill
bathroom
came.
trip as the bill comes out.
That happens.
I like that.
I left my car out in the way. I left my wallet in the car. Let me go get it. And we're watching this, and I can't remember. I think it was either Todd or Colby who said, if St. John Sea Dogs aren't in the Memorial Cup right now, Thomas Chabot might be playing in this game right now. Do you remember watching that run by the Ottawa Senators? I know you're focused on Memorial Cup at that point, but do you remember watching it and thinking like, next year that's going to be me?
Yeah, I really was, to be honest. It's luckily enough, our playoff run with St. John was fairly, I wouldn't call it easy because it's never easy, but it kind of was.
You guys went through everybody, even Blainville,
so,
like at the end, you torched.
We had a lot of days off in between playoff series and everything, so I was keeping an eye out. But one thing that happened too, I think we were first or second round of the playoffs, or starting the second round in St. John, and Ottawa went through a bunch of injuries on the back end. And we kind of started hearing rumblings that I might be getting called up.
An emergency call up.
Yeah, emergency call up. If one more guy was getting hurt, I think because they weren't whatever the rules were. I can't remember everything, but then at the time I was like, that kind of sucks. Like you played all season with your team for the goal to win the QMJHL and go to the Memorial Cup on my last junior year. But then at the same time, I was like, well, it'd be kind of cool. Like they're all the way to the final, almost one goal away from the Stanley Cup. So I was like in between. But you know what? I would have loved to go there after the Mem Cup. Obviously, when I saw that overtime goal, it was pretty unfortunate. But I mean, I was really looking forward to that. Even though I wouldn't have played, I think just the experience of being around the guys and or just being live, like as a hockey fan, being live, watching every single Stanley Cup game, I think it would have been pretty cool. So. But no, I was really thinking about it. I was like, next year when I come in, obviously, I was kind of expecting to play a few games in American League. I think it's always good as a defenseman to do that. But obviously, along the season, I figured I was going to be called up at some point and try and take my chance there. But obviously, that's not the way it went. But it would have been pretty cool, yeah.
So, what have you learned just skating with Giroux?
A lot. Like I played against him for 5 years. Yeah. I knew, obviously, he's almost got 1,000 points in the EHL, so it's pretty obvious that he's an amazing player. But I never realized how good he actually was. Been skating with him for 2 weeks, and just the plays that he sees, the moves that he can make. And I don't think I've ever played a guy that's just as strong as him on his stick. Sometimes he'll come down on you and literally just leave the puck and just block your stick and take the puck back. And I think it's not like the fancy move that everybody would be like, oh my God, this is amazing, but it's such a good play and hard to defend for me as a defenseman. And I think just being around him and also as a guy, like as soon as he came in the locker room, it feels like you talk to him, it feels like you already knew him for 5 years. He's just that easy to talk to. He's just friendly, and I think it's such a big piece that we've added, and he's just going to do so good for us along the way here this season.
Where does DeBrincat like the puck?
Oh, anywhere. There's no bad area for him. He's such a good shooter. Drake and I, we love talking hockey and just picking brains from different people or whatever and hearing stories. But just we've been talking about it for 2 weeks in the driving together at home or whatever, and it's just he can have the puck anywhere and he'll still find a way to shoot it. And it's pretty impressive to see, like seeing him live, seeing skating with him, and whatever pass, if the puck's bubbling or whatever, he can still handle it and get a good shot off. So I mean, there's a reason why he scores so many goals, right? But I played against him at the Mem Cup too, and that year I think he had 70 goals in
that Erie
junior
team with Strome and DeBrincat. Like it was
insane. We lost I think 12-7 against those guys.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but yeah,
I think
that was a tough one.
I think DeBrincat had like 7 points. We talked about it a few weeks ago. It was.
Did he bring it up or did you bring it up?
He brought it up. But so Joseph and I were talking about the Mem Cup, and he brought it up, and he said, yeah, I had 7 points that game. I was like, oh, yeah, thanks for reminding me. But no, he's just an impressive player. You can shoot it from anywhere.
You know, we've had a couple of players mention how good Tim Stützle looks, and we were with him in Germany for a couple of days, and Elliotte did a real nice piece, which eventually we'll get to see one of these days. But like, he looks like, from our point of view, he looks fantastic. You've been on the ice with him. Like, who's this Tim Stützle we're seeing this year?
I think we've kind of slowly started to see it last year, but I think it's just going to be more and more. And obviously, playing with DeBrincat and Giroux this year, it's just going to surround him even better. It's going to fit him even better. Obviously, Giroux's so good on faceoff, so then Timmy can sometimes not take it. Obviously, as a younger guy, it's always hard to take draws in this league. But no, man, I've said it as soon as I saw the guy skate for the first time in Ottawa. That first year he came, or that year in World Juniors, just before he came with us. He's just so talented. It's honestly kind of crazy in some ways how talented that guy is. Just the way he skate, he can put the puck through his legs. He can. Yeah. There's never a position that he can't make something out of. And obviously, pumping his tires a lot here. But I always tell him I think he's such a good player, and obviously he's got some stuff to learn, as we all do as a hockey player. But to have guys that have been around for a few years and guys that can surround him and help him, I think he's going to look even better.
Awesome. This has been great. Good luck this season.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.